LA Galaxy take on Nashville at home in the 4-5 matchup in the West. This is a tough one. Um, LA, 50 points, 58 goals for, 51 goals against, 8 wins at home, six versus Nashville, 50 points, 52 goals for, 41 against, and 7 away wins. We had very, very high hopes for Nashville this year. And they didn't really let it down. They've conceded the third least amount of goals in the conference and are right up there with some of the least conceding teams in the East as well. They just didn't get it going as they went forward. And that is the reason that I have LA going through. Um, Chicharito finds a way to win in big games. Jovanovic off the bench is going to go back and win big games. Hopefully, Douglas Costa can step up and do a job. But there are players on that LA Galaxy team that just know how to win. Not to mention the additions of Ricky Puig and Gaston Brugman. Both those guys have been fantastic since joining the league. We talk about Raheem Edwards and Julian Araujo on either side. Koulibaly in the back with Efren Alvarez off the bench, Marky Delgado, center midfield, Victor Vasquez off the bench. Jonathan Bond is one of my favorite goalkeepers in the league. You know this. Their team on paper, plus the experience of not only the players, but Greg Vanney as well. Greg Vanney knows how to win a playoff game. You go over to Nashville, where Gary Smith takes his side. Again, not a bad side with Hani Mukhtar being the MVP. I'm not going to say an MVP candidate. This man, if he doesn't win MVP, I'm going to go find Daddy Don and talk to him about his decision making. He's really the only guy who gets it done. You got 5 goals from Sapong. You've got 5 goals from Teal. Their next highest goal scorer is Walker Zimmerman and then Dave Romney. So they're two center backs. One man doesn't make the playoffs. We've seen that with LA a few years ago. Zlatan did not succeed in the playoffs because he had no help around him. Joe Willis is my boy. Sean Davis is a GOAT. Alex Mouille is even more of a GOAT. Jack Mayer has been doxxed. I mean, you've got a whole bunch of players here, but the biggest issue is it's a one-man team, and the one-man team doesn't get it done in the playoffs. It just doesn't. So Randall Leal has been terrible, by the way. 2 goals, 5 assists all season. Not good enough.
I'm here to tell you about a sneaky hot team at the end of this season. And their name is Nashville SC, who in their last 8 games have gotten 5 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss. Most of those wins were blowout wins, too. 4-0 against Dallas, 3-0 against Vancouver, 4-1 against Colorado, 3-0 against Austin. I think this team is finding that form that we were looking for at the start of the season. I think this is the Nashville that we were looking for, where we said, I don't know how teams are going to break this team down. When I look at them on paper, I look at a team where, at their best, there is not a single team in this league that I think could break them down consistently. I think that back four is super solid, especially with the addition of Shaq Moore. I think that's like putting in the last puzzle piece to that defense. Having Sean Davis and Dax in front of them as well. And Joe Willis in goal, I think getting past those 7, if those 7 are on their game, is going to be so, so difficult. So then my attention turns to the attack, right? You got the league MVP on your team, which, I mean, he's arguably been MVP for the last 2 seasons. This guy is legit. I agree with you that I don't think he can get it done by himself, but I think that's a long-term view for Nashville in the playoffs. I think in a one-off game, he can get the job done by himself. I think he does. I think they get past Galaxy here. But I will say if Nashville are going to make a long-term run, they need someone else to step up and help out. I think that man is Randall Leal. If he can step up and find that old form that he used to have and help Hani, or it could be CJ Sapong, I think this team is going to be super dangerous in the playoffs.
Let me tell you about a sneaky hot team coming into the end of the season, and they're called the LA Galaxy, who in their last 11 games, 5 wins, 5 draws, 1 loss, and those wins were really good, like 5-2 against Vancouver and 4-1 against Colorado and 3-1 against Houston and 3-2 against San Diego. This team wins
San
big.
Diego.
Did I say San Diego? San Diego.
San Jose.
San Jose. Right? And we talked about being a team that knows how to not lose is just as good as being a team that needs to win in the playoffs. So draws against um, teams like RSL, draws against teams like Toronto and SKC. Probably not great considering what they could have been, but it gives them a chance. And if you're telling me that I need to pick between Chicharito or Hani Mokhtar to win me a game,
You're picking Chicharito?
I'm picking Chicharito based off of experience and absolute ball ability.
Absolute ball. You're gonna tell me absolute ball ability isn't the guy that's been the league MVP for the last 2 years? Are you
Chicharito,
crazy?
Chicharito is a better striker than Hani Mokhtar
He's
with play. Whoa,
yes,
whoa, whoa,
Hani's not a
whoa, 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 whoa,
striker.
whoa, whoa, whoa. Chicharito a better striker with players around him and goal scorer than Hani Mokhtar trying to do everything on his own.
Exactly. So Chicharito needs everybody else around him to be at their game. And if they're not, because Nashville's shutting them down, Chicharito's useless.
Who on Nashville is going to shut anybody across the line down? Please enlighten
Sean
me.
Davis and Dax.
Stop it.
You're gonna because they could shut down the middle, and then you're gonna like they can mark Ricky Puig out of the game, and then they're gonna have to rely on the wings, which Galaxy's wingers have been awful. I will take Hani Mukhtar to win me a game over Chicharito because
You're right.
Chicharito needs the help of other people around him, and Hani can do it on his own, which he's done pretty much all season. I also want to add that pretty much almost every win that you would listed off for the Galaxy was against like a non-playoff team that was just bad all season.
Good teams beat bad teams.
Yeah, and good teams beat good teams also. And guess what?
Sometimes
Nashville's a good team. Galaxy have to beat a good team.
they tied last time they played.
They did. It took
This game's gonna go to penalties, and guess what?
it took a night
I'm picking LA.
it took a 99th minute Ricky Puig penalty for them to get a tie.
Yeah, I'm taking this. I'm taking this LA team. Yeah, and it was a Hani Mukhtar penalty that gave him the lead. Don't talk to me about penalties.
Yeah, in the 29th minute, and they would have saw it out if they had they not gone 9 minutes of extra time.
Well, Walker Zimmerman shouldn't have gotten a red.
He shouldn't have. You're right.
All I'm
I
saying is,
listen. We differentiate on this one. We're just gonna have to see what happens.
we're not gonna see what happens. You're wrong.
I'm not wrong.